I'm starting with the Irrawaddy also because I like the way the water looks on this one. He's floating on his back looking at you. I love this so much. So let's get into it. Okay, so super excited here. This is the first tutorial of the dolphin book. It's just been released and it's a little intimidating for me, not gonna lie. I've not really colored or painted a dolphin before. Lots of colors in the skin, even though your mind says they're gray or they're blue or whatever. They pretty much have every color in the rainbow in them, so bear with me here while I work through this. I'm starting with the Irrawaddy because I'm just fascinated by these guys. They have a mutualistic relationship with some fishermen in India, and it just amazes me how intelligent these creatures are. So I'm going to start with the Irrawaddy because when I get the water. Okay, so I'm doing a mixture of the Hoo Hoo Heroes and the Prismacolors to get started. So don't stress out if you don't have Prismacolors. Your Hoo Hoo Heroes have 120 colored pencils in there, and the colors are basically all the same. It's not a big deal, so don't stress out. Let's get to this. So in this particular illustration, I have the luxury of having these single sheets because we've been doing clinics at the schools here in the Keys with the book, and so we had some singles printed. So I'm going to try to match the colors here with the things going on up here. See how well we get this done. Okay, so where do I want to start? But these are the pencils that I think are necessary. So I've got all my light blues, I've got some of the slate grays, some of the green grays, some blue grays, I've got warm grays, cool grays, some purples, just a mixture. I've got some lavenders because I see all of those colors in here. Like for example, let's just go through this because I literally see every color of the rainbow in this dolphin. So I'm seeing blues and purples and pinks and oranges up here, and then I'm seeing yellows and greens down here, and then more pinks and lavenders and purples and blues. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I see every color of the rainbow in this dolphin. That's one of the tricks, being able to see that color and recognize it is one of the tricks to being able to make these look realistic. Now, I always tell you when we get started, it doesn't have to look like mine to be good. Do your own thing if you want to. This is just how I would do it. So let's get started. I'm feeling like I want to start here on the tail. I'm going to grab some grayed lavender and I'm just going to start putting some color in up here. Now, this is not the final color for this, but I know this color is in the bottom level of this. Also know that the water is going to come up over this dolphin, and so there's a lot of extra coloring here that's going to go on so that it looks like the water's coming over him, because the water is coming over him. So I also know there's some purple back here on his tail, his fluke. I know that this is going to come up here. There's some darker colors here. Some of this I'm pushing super soft. Some of this I'm pushing a little bit harder. Just using the exact same color here right now just to try to get some of these shapes in. I like starting with the shadow colors first, even though the highlight colors are better, but on these guys are such a high value, meaning that the colors are super light. I'm working a little backwards on this, on these guys, because I need to be able to see where those shadows really are going. So just feel like there's a little bit of that. There's a little backlight color on that right there. So again, we're just kind of coming in. So I'm going to put this one down for just a sec. Actually, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use this over here as well. So here is the jawline. So all of this here is going to be super, super dark underneath here. So we're going to start building that color up. And this kind of bulb, it's like bulgy right here. One of the tricks to getting it correct, besides using the right color, is coloring in the direction of the bulge there. So we already know that there's going to be some shadowing underneath here. Look how good that's already looking. I'm excited. Okay, and I know that we've got a little bit of this color here, streaking kind of across to his eye. Notice that I am not using the exact same color over the entire dolphin. So I'm not just filling in the whole area. That's never the way to get it to look photorealistic. That never works. So I'm feeling like we've got this here, we've got this here, and this goes into darker colors. And we've got some splashies here, and then we've got you've just got lots and lots of rippley effects. And y'all, I'm not the greatest at the water because I lack the patience to do this completely photorealistically, so I struggle with this a little bit. And I know that this is coming across here. And see, I'm just coloring in like little egg shapies, because that also mimics the water kind of rippling across. So right now I am coloring this area right here is actually this area right here on the dolphin. So see how that's got some lavender in there? There's also some gray blue in there, and then there's the white and the yellow, and so we'll get that drawn in after the fact. So right now I'm just trying to lay in some of this darker color here because I know that it's right there, and I know there's some right here. So this comes across like this kind of comes up here. See, I've drawn some of those lines. I did that so that it would be easier to line up what's going on. Oh yeah. Gonna come in here and make some darker areas here. The beautiful thing about these these colored pencils is that you can put lots of layers on, lots and lots of layers on. So it's no worries with how much you get on there. No worries at all. Okay. I'm gonna start like potentially shifting colors here. So we've got all of these little squiggles here because the water is rippling this way on here and then this way on here. You have to be brave enough to just draw the squiggles. Even though they might not be exactly perfect, it doesn't matter. It'll still translate well. Okay, so we've got the color here, we've got color on the tail. So that's gonna look so good. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit over here because this side's gonna be shadowed. There's gonna be a pretty dark shadow here. And it does have a base of this lavender because this lavender gray has more red in it than gray. And more red in it than the blue. So, and then I know that this is a little dark here and this is a little dark right here and this is, and you see I'm just drawing those lines. Just trying to get it good. And then I'm also going to pull a little bit of that color into here. Okay, I'm going to put that one down for now. So now I am going to grab my powder blue. And I'm gonna come up here on the face, and I'm gonna put a little powder blue right here. This might be a little too dark. That might be more dark than I should have done. Maybe I should do the sky blue light. Yep, maybe that's a better color. I'm gonna color right over some of this. Okay, sky blue light right there, because that is kind of a bluish color. I see that. Now I need I'm gonna grab the putty, which is a beige color. Oh yeah, that's good. That's got a little more green in it. I see the green in that. A little bit of putty over the top of this. Gonna add some of the putty down here on this side where I know it's a little bit darker, and that's exactly the color of that shadow. You gotta be willing to mix your colors. You gotta be brave, willing to risk making a mistake, because again, these are just for practice. These don't ever have to be perfect. I'm just trying to learn something. I've never colored one of these guys, so we're all in it to learn something. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put the putty down right here. It's okay, but I don't really need it right now. So I'm gonna grab, I think this is 40%, no, 50% French gray. So let's just see what shade of gray this really translates into. Ooh, that's dark. That's okay though. I know it's super dark right there. I know it is. I can see it. How cool that is. I'm gonna come in up here and add some of this up here. Start going around the bulge here. And I know right now it's just kind of looking like a hot mess, but just stick with me. I'm going to show you how to pull this all together. So we're just kind of randomly adding in a little bit of these darker colors here and there. So we've used those. We'll come back to those. So let's add some of this here. This is cloud blue. This is the part of his pectoral fin right here. This one too. Because his little flippers are out while he's on his back looking at you. So we want to make sure that we represent those properly. So all of this is dark. So all of this is this. So this is this. So this is actually semi-light, and I like to draw the lines of the water. And I try to make them random so it doesn't look like I'm just drawing horizontal lines, because like I'm famous for horizontal lines. It's, you know, it's a thing that I do. So then the back of the head, it's darker, but right here it's a little bit lighter. But then up here, we kind of have some lines that, you know. So I'm putting in some of the lighter color right now because I know that it's gonna be there. And I've got to start putting in the darker shades, because the darker shades are what's gonna pull all this together and then make the dolphin pop. And I'll have to come back in with some white. I've got to darken him up a little bit because I always get nervous that I'm going to make him too dark right out of the gate. So I always go light, 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 and then pop the color. So this is this. So let's just see, what color is this? And right now, this is not a very pretty color of the green. It's just, it's not very pretty, and you can hardly see anything that I'm doing. I see that, but we have to put in the chromy, yucky colors first. So this is green gray out of the Hoo Hoo Hero. And I'm telling you, I feel like these shade and color just like the Prismacolor ones. They've got a great pigment load, a fantastic pigment load. So we're gonna put in, this is a shadow color here. We're gonna do this. And then I feel like that this color is next. Which one is this? Blue Lake. Perfect. Let's get some of that Blue Lake in there. Yep, that's the color. It's a little too dark. So I'm going to use that, but I'm also going to use Caribbean Sea. And I'm going to use some of the cloud blue. Then I'm going to get crazy and grab some of this peacock, and I'm just going to test it out because this might be a little much. Ooh, that's really pretty. But but it is really intense. I mean, it's really, really, really intense. I'll put that right there for just a minute. Let's grab this turquoise, cobalt turquoise. Let's see what we think of this. Let's see if this kills or comes too far forward with this, because the thing is that this part of the water is on the other side of the dolphin, so we kind of want it to lay down a little more than this. This can be a little more intense and a little more in your face over here. How's that looking? It's starting to look like water. It's gonna be a long day, y'all. Okay, so this is working here. I'm okay with this. Let's work a little more. Let's get some more work done over here. So I feel like I'm gonna grab some of these green colors here. And I do have these blues that are really, really nice too. They've got different hues of blue. Ugh. It's kind of overwhelming. Don't get discouraged though, because you know, I have to look at this and go, what should I really be doing here? So I'm gonna come in here with this. This is a 10% cool gray. If you're in Hoo Hoo Hero, just grab your lightest gray color. And I'm gonna start to just kind of fill this in so that we're not looking at white paper, because the white paper kind of throws me. So I'm gonna go over all of this and see that just adds another layer of blendability here. See, it's so light you can barely see that, but I do see a difference between this right here and this area right here. So it is helping. So it's all starting to become a little more cohesive, and I need that in order to make this work for me. So I'm just coming in and I'm literally making little eggy shaped. So there's probably white still being left, not touched, and I'm okay with that, because I'll go back in after the fact with some of the pencils or the pens and draw the squiggly lines for to represent the water ripples. I just need this to have a color other than white right now. So that will be most beneficial. Okay. So there we go with that. Very nice. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one down right here. I keep my pencils out so I know which ones I've used versus trying to scramble to figure it out later. So I've always been like that. I do that with my paint too. So this is 20% warm gray. Let's see what this looks like over here. going right over that gray lavender. So I want this color to be towards the back of the tail, I think. Yeah, this is working. This is working just fine. It's okay if you get a little bit of that in the water. Don't stress out about that, because it will reflect, and we'll come in with the pens after the fact to make the water look really cool. We'll pop that water right on out, no worries. See that I'm not coloring the entire area in. That's kind of the key, and I'm just going to keep telling you that over and over again. The key to this is to not fill the entire area with the exact same color, because as you work your way down these dolphins, the colors change, and that's how you get it to look realistic. Now I'm coloring in with the cloud blue. This color is beautiful, and it also gives a natural reflection of the water reflecting off the dolphin. It changes the tone. Look at that. So, having some tea, thinking about what I'm doing here. Okay. Let's at least try to get this section of the water done here. So I have a whole bunch of colors of green and a whole bunch of colors of blue. I'm mixing a combo of the Hoo Hoo Hero and the Prismacolors because they're just buttery, creamy deliciousness together. I also have a few Caran d'Ache over here that I might grab. Do not stress out if you don't have these colors. You can make this work with the colors that you have, I promise. As long as you don't have a 12-pack of Crayola. If you have a 12-pack of Crayola, you're never going to be happy with this. So, I'm going to use the slate from the Hoo Hoos. So here's the nose of the Irrawaddy. This part right here is highlighted. So this part right here is actually darker. And see how I'm just making little half moon shapes, crescent moon shapes here. And some of this, I'm letting it be darker than others. Some of it, you know. And then we're going to go over that dark area there with some of the greens. Some of it needs to be a little bit darker than the other, so it's all randomness. Randomness. So over here in this section, this is definitely going to be darker, so I'm going to use this slate over here and start dropping in a shadow. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. See, that's going to do it. That's going to totally work. Look, there it is. Okay, so then this back here, this is really shadowed because this is like a wave coming down this way. So we're gonna wanna see this. And then right up against his melon. It's gonna be even darker. And then back here, it's gonna go this way and then this way. And there's gonna be a line of super dark here, and I need to not be lazy. I need to curve this just like this so that it's there. It needs to be little moon crescent shaped strokes here where not all of it's exactly the same depth of color. Ooh, So we're getting a rain alert. Okay, that's what that noise was. Ignore that. So we're in the Keys. We're here doing clinics at the schools with this book. It has been fantastic to get to talk to the kids about how cool dolphins are. Y'all, I had no idea how truly amazing these dolphins are until I started doing the research for them. And it's mind-blowing how smart they are. We do not give them enough credit for any of their characteristics. Okay, let's see, what is that looking like? Okay, that's looking like, that's okay. You know, I can live with that, and I'm gonna come up here and just kind of fade this out. Okay, I can hang with that. So above his, so this is all super dark up in here. This is like really dark. This is like an actual little ripple wave. So right up against his sweet little fin here, it is super dark. And over here against his face, it is super dark here too. And some of this, I'm only covering up the green that I've already colored. And some of it, I'm just coloring the blue as hard as I can. This is a very transparent color, the slate color. It's just like a muted blue. It's like a muted navy blue or a muted denim blue. So. Okay, so then if this is this, then this right here is super dark because this is going to be a shadow from his body. So that's going to be super dark, and it's going to have the green over the top of it. Or it should have had the green go first. That's also a Hoo Hoo Hero. Let's grab a Prismacolor. Oh, that's a Hoo Hoo Hero. Hoo Hoo Hero. Let's see, what is this? This is Indigo. That's also Hoo Hoo Hero. I need a darker blue from the Prismacolor. I'm gonna grab Indian Throne, which is like Indothrene. That's crazy, but that's kind of the color. That's not exactly the color, but it is kind of the color. It's really intense though. Wow, you gotta be crazy with that color. Ooh, that's really intense. That's really intense there. Okay, so what color is this one? What is this? This is Indigo Blue. Is that a color that I can use underneath his jaw? Ooh, that's really wild. Okay, so we're gonna start with this 50% cool gray. Just building up the color, little by little. And that's literally all there is to this with the colored pencils, in my opinion. And I'm sure there are artists out there that are way better at this than I am. Need some of that periwinkle again. Where's that periwinkle at? Blue Violet Lake. Maybe we'll take some of that, put that right there. Because I'm seeing some of that color right there on this baby's face. So that went to that. So let's grab the cloud. Is this the sky blue light? This has a little green in it. Let's get in here and really work the highlights of this super hardcore. Sorry, Casey's gonna get on me for moving the page. Look how good that's looking though. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of working. I think that this part's got to be darker. It always makes me nervous, but I just really feel like that's got to be darker, so. I'm gonna just come in and just accentuate some of the lines that I've already put down here. Just to give it some more character. Come back in here and work some of this with the watercolor pencils, and that will help significantly as well. So I think it's looking pretty good. Now let's get into this cobalt here. See if we can't make some beautiful colors with the cobalt. So this has to go a little more green. Let's see if this works. This is the Hoo Hoo Hero, sea green. Not really the right color. I mean, it's my favorite color, but this is not the right color. I always go back to painting ocean colors. So I gotta put that down. It's gotta be a little more greeny. So it's gotta have a little more of this. Oh, yep, that's the color. It's gotta have a little more of this, a little more water in it from what could potentially be river water. It's gotta have a little more of that in there. I'm gonna set that down. That's not 100% what I wanna do. I'm gonna come back in with some of this gray, tone that down just a touch. This is the cool gray. 70% cool gray. We're going to do the blues right on top of that because the blues are so pretty. What is this? This is denim blue. Well, broke the tip. Yeah, I don't like that. Although I think it's working. Maybe I do like it. Maybe I just need to hang in there and see what happens, how it evolves from here. Okay, so I'm digging what this looks like, and I'll work on the dolphin a little bit more here in just a minute, but I want to come in here and start laying in this color down here. Now, as we come this way in the painting, we go from the aquas, blues, and purples into the more greens and yellow tones up here, and then the tail itself is more purple because it's out of the water. This is more yellowy, greenish down in here. So we have to be really careful with how we do this section of water because it's going to be a different color than this. Remember when I told you that the water has to change as it moves around? This is the lesson in that. So over here, going to take the green. This is jade green. It's probably going to be green gray in the Hoo Hoo Hero. Yep, green gray in the Hoo Hoo Hero. We're going to start coming in and just laying in some of this color here. Not a ton, just a little. We're also going to put some of it in the water, just little patches of it in this water, because as this water works its way around, it's just doing all kinds of things because water's always moving. And so you don't just color it in one little area and just color it all in the exact same direction. You see, I'm even wrapping it around over here. I'm giving it some options here for movement. Coming down here, we're going to come in here, we're going to do a little bit more green on the body of the dolphin. Lots of that color. And then this green is only going to go to about right here. There's going to be a little bit of it up in here. Just a touch. Just a touch where the water's coming over the top of the dolphin, no big deal. This is going to be super dark right here. We're going to lay that in. This is going to be super, super dark right here. I'm going to lay that in. And this is really a gross color at first. So this again is the gray green or the jade green. And the jade's a little different shade, so you want both of those in here. And we're going to just lay them in and keep working with what we're working with here. We want a little bit of that green over the top of the body because that anchors the dolphin into the painting. So because this area right in here is going to be lighter, and then this is going to be super dark here. I think today is daylight savings time, so I think the sun will be up at the crack of dawn tomorrow, but it's going to get dark sooner tomorrow night. See how I'm coloring right into the side of the dolphin? Super important that you do that. And this is just really, really dark right here. I mean, it's just really... And you're going to have some lines and some squiggles where that is just coming right over the top. Going to have a dark shadow there, and that's just going to come down like that, and it's going to go around, and it's going to be awesome and crazy all at the same time. And then we're going to do this, and we're going to do some of this, and it's just going to be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, yep, all of the things here. So then we're going to have some of that color back here, but it's going to be, you know, a little bit more of a bluish color, and then some splashies, and we'll use the paint to color those. So we're just going to kind of bring some of that dark color here, and I'm being very messy right now. I'm not coloring in any direction because I'm trying to get this covered. So the green gray from the Hoo Hoo Hero is just about done its job here. I want some dark colors up in here. I mean, this water is just moving, and as it moves and rolls around, some of it reads super dark and some of it reads a lot lighter. See? Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, right now it's really ugly, but trust me, it's gonna be gorgeous when we're done. So we're going to put a little bit of that up here, but we're also going to come back in with some of those other colors. So we're just going to start the transition right here. Look how ugly that is. That's just a gross color. However, it's really not a gross color. It's just a low intensity green, and that's what we need because we want it to set down in the well of that water. That's what we're looking for. Okay, now I'm going to come in with a little bit of this warm gray, and I'm really going to get in there. And this is the Prismacolor, so it's going to go on real strong. I'm going to put some of that in there, and then we're going to go over it with the greens and the blues. The beauty of doing it this way is that it's really going to cast them shadows. This right here is a super dark shadow. Now this has got a lot of red in it, so it's kind of popping up. That warm gray is a red gray. It's actually a purple gray. Oop, and I've got a broken tip here. There's going to be a little bit more of it right here too, just a little. You see, I'm not coloring the entire thing with this, just some of this. And I'm going to come in here and go ahead and use some of this warm gray on the tail right here because I see that color in his tail a little bit. Just a touch, not a ton, but just a touch. Okay, and put that color down. So I've used this and this. I'm going to use some of this navy right up in here. Right over all of that green. And right into this that I want to make green again, because that blue is definitely not the right color, because this is not ocean, this is like river water. Well, it's brackish water. It's a combination of both. So, and we don't want to paint the water dirty, but I know for a fact that it doesn't look like the ocean. So see how when I start to go over it with that green, that it just mixes so delightfully. I'm going to take the blue slate and just make some ripply lines right over the top of all this. See how I just took some of that and just kind of blended it right over the top of the dolphin? I'm going to come over here and blend all of this with this blue as well. This blue is a great blending color. It just sort of makes everything feel so cohesive. And I'll go in and I'll paint in some, you know, other stuff, but we need to put some darker color in this. Ooh, look how good that's looking. Oh yeah, oh yeah. See, now we've got all of our shadows laid in down here. We got to come back in and add some of the, brighten it up a little bit. Okay, before we get too crazy with the water, I want to make sure that I get the water coming over the fish done correctly. So it's going to have lots of just ripples that go right over the fish, or over the dolphin. Sorry, dolphins are not fish. Okay. So I'm just drawing lots of random little squigglies. And I could have mapped each and every one of these out exactly, but I just don't see the need for this to be an exact representation of the photograph that we're looking at, so. Kind of like an otter, he's kind of out of the water, but not really. The water's just barely covering the top of him. That's how this really is working. Woo, that is really intense. This is the Imperial Violet. And while I can definitely see this color in here, you gotta be careful because this color will eat your lunch. So we're going to go over this with some of the yellows after I get it laid in here to show all these little markings here and all of these little shadows here, because that is there. Cannot wait to get in here with a blending color and just lay all this down. I see that purple in there. I know I see it in there. I'm seeing it plain as day in there. I'm going in with my cloud blue. And I'm just squishing all of this in there. Because the next step is that we will produce some ripple effects with the watercolor pencils and make it look even cooler, and maybe go over it with a few more colors. Because right now, you can't really tell what's happening. Yeah. So, okay. It needs... This color is called Peach Beige. I'm grabbing the French gray 30%. Gonna add some more color to this baby this way. See how just going over parts of it with this gray kind of helps seal the deal for the whole dolphin? Look, his tail is coming out of the water. Now the only thing we have to do is come back in with some highlighty paint and put the highlights back on his body and put some more shadows in there where the underneath those highlights, so we can show the ripples, the shadows from the ripples and that. So let's grab the turquoise, cobalt turquoise, and let's get some of this in here, laid in here. Actually, I want to go ahead and fill this in with some of the blue. Very quickly. Okay, that's been handled. Okay, so I'm feeling like I want to get that aqua blue color back in here. I've got all my shadows in, so now I'm just going to start coloring over it. Oh, yep, that's going to work. So there's that. And then we're going to do some of this blue, because the blue is definitely a highlighty color. And I'm going to pull that blue right over his cheeky, because that water is coming up over his face. The water's coming up over his face all the way over here. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe I just wasn't brave enough to color hard enough, because I'm kind of liking that. I'm feeling like that's starting to look like the water in the picture. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it ever gonna be? No. But it's not supposed to be perfect for this, because, you know, I'm not gonna sell this. I'm just trying to figure out how to use my supplies. Okay, so what color did I put there? Because I need a little darker, like I need a dark blue. Do we have a dark blue? Indigo blue. What color is this? Navy blue. Let me try navy blue in the hoo-hoos. Oh, that's not really navy. Y'all can't really go by the names of the products. I'm gonna go ahead and use, since I've already put it down here, I'm just gonna go ahead and add some little watery looking squiggles that maybe would work. We'll see. Then we've gotta add some here. A little bit of navy in here. It's a little more vibrant of a color, and the correct term is intense. It comes forward a little more than what I want. So I'm not gonna do a ton of this navy, but I am gonna get back in there with that cobalt turquoise. And let's see if this is, oh, that's it. That's the color. That is the color. Okay, so I don't want to color all of it super heavy because it's going to make it look flat. So I'm going to color heavy, but in some areas I'm going to push a lot harder to get a much more saturated feel to it. That is the color of this water. Here we go. Because again, these guys are in brackish water at the mouth of the rivers is where they're hanging out. They're often mistaken for a river dolphin, but they're an oceanic dolphin that lives in brackish water. A different color of green here. Let's see if this, ooh, look at that. That's exactly what we needed. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. That's perfect. That is perfect. Okay. Okay, now see how that looks like water? Like you can see through some parts of it? And I'm just going to town with these colors here. Okay. That is working. Okay, so now we need to do the same thing back here. But first, we're going to use some Imperial Violet. This is a more purpley tone. We're going to get in there and get after some of that. Not all of it, just some of it. I'm going to add some of this here. This is the Blue Violet Lake. You gotta embrace all the colors, y'all, because that water isn't just blue. It's kind of every color of the rainbow as well. And we'll get in here with some watercolor in a little while and see if we can't kind of elevate it a little bit. I feel like I want to come in here with this and color this baby's face some with this. So we've got that yellowy color in there. We've got the purples in there. Now we're working these darker blues in here. Getting this baby to look exactly how it's supposed to really look. Gonna use the blue right over all of this, right over all of this. Got this going on, we've got that going on. A little bit of extra shading down here on his lips. And then we'll come back in with the white pens over the top of that and make that a little more cohesive. Wow, I'm kind of excited about this at this point, really. Okay, so let's hit that cobalt again. So let's get back in here, and I know there's a line right here for this cobalt, and unfortunately I just like totally pulled that over his face, but if I rub that hard enough, there, no big deal. See, no problem. Okay, so we know that we've got this. And then right here, it's lighter. And then right here, this is darker. So this actually kind of comes into this. And this is a highlight color. I think this is cool. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, but I think it's cool. Gonna take the blue, just go around the edges, just kind of blend some of that in, because that blue is gonna show up as a highlight in the water. Just like that. Oh wow, that really looks good on your end. Yep, that's the key. That's the key. You gotta put that darker color down first to kind of set your distance here. And then you've gotta, where's the slate? Because I know I was using that slate. Periwinkle, Prismacolor Periwinkle, blue violet, blue slate. I know I had a slate in here too. Slate, here it is. Let's get in here. Oh, look at that, right over the top. And it's not turning it blue, it's just intensifying that green. And so we're gonna use that as a starting point with the other blues. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to work. Periwinkle. Ooh, that is the color right here. And see, I've lost some of my highlight color on this Irrawaddy, so I'll come back in with some of the I'll come back in just a bit with a little different shadowing color, a little different highlight color, and try to get some of that back. This has lines in it from the ripples in the water, so you have to be mindful of that if you want it to look realistic. So you can't just come in here and color the whole thing the exact same hue. You can, but it will not look as realistic as if you take your time and be mindful of where those water ripples are hitting that baby's fin. Well, it's his pectoral fin. See how I'm just drawing those on. Oh, look at that. That's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. Okay, so I need a little more gray on his face. China blue. Just more so going for getting some color laid down here than, you know, anything else. I just want the color laid down. Because when the color is down, then we can paint on top without ruining what's behind it. these we're gonna experiment with that clear gesso. Mediterranean blue. Come back in a minute with some, you know, white gouache over the top of all of this. I just kind of want to get some colors laid down here. A little bit of reflective light on the Irrawaddy itself. Here we go. I feel like that green is on point though. So I'm going to add some more of it here because this is river water, so it has that kind of weird, as it's closer to you, it has that greenish reflective quality about it. And I know that's supposed to be lighter and I'm just mucking it all up here, but trust me, it's going to be cool when I get done. It's going to be cool. There's that. What color is this? The darker blue. Let's get some of that laid in here. We're gonna go over these white areas with some white gouache. You'll see, it's gonna make everything pop. It looks a hot mess right now, but trust the process. I'm gonna pull this off. Oh, well, it's not terrible. It's not at all how I want it to finish out, but it isn't terrible. So, could be a lot worse. I'm gonna add some of this up in here. We're not gonna pay too much of attention to this because I'm gonna come in here with some gouache and make that really pretty. Where is my cobalt turquoise? Here we go. Again, I'm not worried about the scribble action over here because I am gonna come in with some paint and do the gouache right over the top, because I think it'll go faster. I'm looking to get this done. Okay, here we go. So I have activated my watercolors by just dropping some water into them here because I'm curious if I can kind of cut out some of the, oh yeah. See, that's better. Look at that. I can pull that right over the top. Okay. So I'm just making some random lines here. Some of the gray, a little bit of the white on my watercolor brush, this little synthetic brush that holds all of the beautiful color within it. So we're going to grab a little bit of that blue and we're just going to let it streak over the top. It's a little too intense. It's not 100% the right color, but I'm not going to get tore up about that. So we're going to come in here and we're going to add some of this white. Some of this blue. I'm just gonna go right over the top of all of these, huh? Look at that. That is so much better. Spend all this time coloring and coloring and coloring when you really just need to come back in with the watercolor. And is it perfect? Nope, it's not. But I kind of don't mind it. And I like the option of coming back with the white and adding the little splashes of white. And we can do this with the pens. I have paint pens that we can come back in and really add the splashes of white. So over here, just come in with this right over the top. Still think I'm gonna have to work this with the colored pencils though, for reals, because I think we're gonna just like bleed through if we don't. It's gonna be a little much for the back side of this to handle. Ooh, look at that dark in there. See, look at that. That's looking more and more like water. It's not even 100% correct, but it's totally giving water vibes back here. Totally giving water vibes. These aren't even the normal color pens or watercolors that I use, because I gave my watercolors to a young man at the boat show who didn't have any, and he was so excited because he had the book but he didn't have any watercolors, and I knew his parents couldn't get him the watercolors, so I just gave them to him. So I am struggling a little bit right here because these are not my normal watercolors, but we're gonna make these work. And you should have seen the look on his face. He was so excited. See how I'm just bringing those little just streaks of transparent color right over the top, and I'm gonna have to color this in. I'm not gonna be able to cheat this. I want to, I desperately want to, but I'm not gonna be able to do that. I'm going to have to finish coloring with the colored pencils before any of this looks the way it's supposed to look. And then I can come back over and play. I have some more gouache that I can come in with the white right over the top and make my little splashies, because this is a little too transparent. It's really not going to work, so I'm going to have to do it the correct way, and it will look better in the end as a result of that. I mean, it would just look so much better if I do it the correct way. So that's what I'm going to do. Come in here and add some highlights to his face. I know we've got highlights here that we've got to add in. That's gonna work. Look at that. Look at his little face is starting to pop out of the water. His tail is coming up out of the water. The colors are beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is really looking like water. Okay, let's take a quick break here and grab some colored pencils and then come back and finish in this area and this over here. We can just kind of let that go, but this underneath here all needs some colored pencil action. So it's completely dry now. It's the next morning, and I'm feeling like I could do a little more love here, like on the sides with some of the slate, kind of in between where I've painted the water ripples. Just to give him a little bit of a little more shadow in some of these areas, a little more connection to the water, kind of anchor it down in there a little bit more. And notice that I am not coloring in a straight line of any kind. I'm just sort of bouncing. That water moves, the reflections move, the angles of the light bend. So nothing with the water is ever, and the water distorts the way the image looks, the part that's underwater from the part that's above water. So if you want it to look realistically, you have to always keep those things in mind. And I know that this is going to be a little bit darker in here. I know that this is going to be a little bit darker in here. Come over here and have a little bit of that blue, and then I'm just going to kind of rub a little bit. Oops. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I accidentally drew a line on that. Let's grab. I'm going to come in here with my 10% warm gray, add some highlights up here at the top. Anywhere that I've added paint, it'll stick to it very well. This warm gray can also go back here, around his tail area. You can do it right on top of some of those blue lines that we just drew. This is 10% cool gray. And I'm just scrubbing this gray color into it. I mean, I'm just scrubbing it in there. Because I really, really want to be able to see some of this. Let me give him a super, super highlight up here on his melon. What's it looking like? Y'all, the thing is this, I could keep working this and working it and working it, or we can just call it good. Because I think at this point, we should just call it good. So I think we need to sign it and say that this is the best that I could do with the materials that I have on a practice page in the book. And I don't know if it would be different if I tried it again, because that's the truth. I'm not sure that I would color it differently if I tried it again. I don't know if I would. I'm going to go over this part of his face too, kind of make this a little more cohesive. Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. Let's sign it and call it good. Okay. Only thing left to do is finish shots of the whole project, and that's it. Oh my goodness, y'all. Okay, that'll do it. So this has been the first coloring page in the third book, Dolphins. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Coloring Passports. I'm Rio, and I'll catch you on the next page.